Hey guys, I have a very interesting video for you guys today. When I first talked about Sun Wukong, who is the next limited hero, people were telling me quite a bit that he would probably get nerfed because he's very, very strong. And he did actually get changed recently. But I'm here to announce that he was not nerfed. He was buffed. So he's now stronger than he used to be. You have to pull for him. He's probably the strongest upcoming hero. Except, like, technically Ingrid and Praetus are upcoming, but at least new heroes, he's the strongest. And I don't know what they were thinking here, but he should be pretty easy to get for everyone. Limited heroes are guaranteed after 200 pulls, so that's pretty exciting. So let's get into it. Unfortunately, though, there is something I need your guys' help with before I get into showing you the new kit. And that is something that I'm kind of working on behind the scenes and have been for a couple days now. Well, a couple months, but at least more actively a couple days. Now, if you go to the main Watcher Realms Discord in here and you go and you scroll up a decent amount, you're going to find my suggestion right here. And I would really appreciate it if you guys checked it out and thumbs up if you wanted to. I've been trying to negotiate with, the dev contact and stuff for a little while on showing the rates. And I think with all of the stuff happening, now is the best time to do it. So the way you guys can help out, of course, is thumbs up the suggestion. The way these suggestions work is if they get enough traction, the mods will like refer it up or something. So the more the better. And I can also show it as a little bit of proof of this is something people want. And I'm hoping a little bit of public pressure will kind of make them actually do it finally, which would be really good. It's not going to fully repair trust by any means, but it is definitely something they should be doing, kind of head that direction. So I'm hoping I can kind of convince them a little bit. If you want to see the rates shown and stuff, it is something that will help me a little bit. Maybe make some noise wherever you can that you want to see it. Because, I mean, Ancient Gear, Guild Boss Chests, Hero Drop Rates, even some other stuff should have been shown already when the game came out. And it's kind of appalling that it hasn't yet. So I'm just trying to do my best to convince them a little bit. So anything you guys can do will help a ton. But that's kind of all I wanted to ask from y'all. Appreciate y'all, and let's get into the actual part of the video. So Wukong is the next limited hero. Like I said, his projected date is going to be the 27th of December, and every single account in the game is going to really want him. He is a monster. Before I get into showing the rest of it, I know it's taking a little while, but I do have to give thanks where thanks is due to the amazing R-Type for putting together this PowerPoint presentation for me in such short notice. He's the GOAT. Shout out R-Type. And of course, everyone else, all the leakers, Panther, Rokanchi, Aresis, E, and Kardash. Big thanks to them as well. Let's get into it. And to start off, we have the animation with the actual sound it will have in-game. With that amazing animation out of the way, let's start with the animations. These are the in-game animations that we have. This is like the basic attack and stuff related to that. It's going to look a lot better in-game. When you take files from the game that aren't really supposed to be taken, they're going to look worse. So keep that in mind as well. Here is the ultimate animation. As you can see, he has a lot of clones. He is pretty true to his mythological version. So let's go on to the kit. The way this is going to work is we are going to be going over the skills from the new versions and the old versions, because I know a lot of you guys watched my Wukong video. So I want to compare them and show you guys how he was buffed, because he was buffed and it's stupid how strong he is. But before that, we got to go to the stuff that wasn't changed, which is, first of all, he is a fighter. He is a Nightmare Watcher unit. I know he's the exact same faction as Kagiri. It's pretty lame, but realistically in this game, Nightmare is the best faction to have on a fighter because of that attack speed that's given. And then Watcher faction is also very strong in this game right now. He has 2 tile range. I know it's not like more than that, so it does cause some issues for a couple things, but he's so strong and tanky that it's not going to matter, even for stuff like Guild v Guild, which I will get into shortly. Basic attributes, he has 28,700 HP. This is in the top 5 HP in the game. I think it's top 3, I want to say, but I'm not going to claim that because I don't remember all the base stats off the top of my head. That is ridiculously high for a fighter. You have no idea. That's like A-bomb Jira level. His attack is no slouch either. It's 6,500 almost. That is a lot of attack. And you're going to see later that that's not the max attack he's going to get. He does increase it, but we'll get to that very shortly. Defense is 2,000. That is also pretty high for a fighter, especially he might be decent with BP, but we will just kind of have to see how people with test server end up seeing him. Something I didn't even notice the first time is his cost is 15, which is nothing. 15 cost is like, that's very low, especially for a fighter. Usually they're about 18. That's ridiculous. Block 2, normal stuff there. Redeployment time is basic as hell. Attack interval 2.6 is normal, and the rage and stats are all normal as well. Now let's go into the talent. The talent used to be that every 3 attacks you did with him summoned 1 Sage clone within the ultimate's range, which I will show in the next slide. It's like a tweaked vortex range, don't worry about it yet. But up to 3 Sage clones can exist simultaneously. They have a 10% chance to inflict stun on hit, and if the target is immune to stun, deals 1 extra instance of 70% damage instead. This is actually in a different part of his kit now, and the Sage clone used to inherit all of the hero's attributes, each basic attack doing 70% damage to 1 adjacent enemy, takes 50% more damage. Now the new talent is actually interesting because it combines one of the old awakenings. His old A3, which I was telling everyone you have to go for the A3. They just said, nah, we're adding the A3 to his talent now for some reason, so that you don't need him awakened for that. Instead, the awakening is something additional. Basically, now the 3rd basic attack summons 1 Sage clone within the ultimate's range. Up to 3 Sage clones can exist simultaneously, completely the exact same kit there. But if summoning Sage's clone is not possible, or there are already 3 Sage clones, the 3rd basic attack will instead increase the hero's attack by 20% for 15 seconds. Do you know how stupid that is? If we go to his basic attacks again, I don't know how to use PowerPoint, man. Here we go. Sorry. 6,500 attack. Furthermore, if you build him with a lot of attack, you can easily get him past 20,000 attack if you have good gear. You want to know what that does? Just by him basic attacking, summoning clones which also inherit his attack and do damage. He's just going to instead increase it by 20% as well, which is really dumb. The Sage clone now is pretty much the only part of his kit that got nerfed, and that is inherits 100% of the hero's attributes as normal. Each basic attack deals 40% damage instead of 70%, was brought down by about 30%, but you're going to see that doesn't matter. The ultimate is where it varies very heavily. It used to summon a large amount of clones to do 30% damage to one enemy 36 times and inflict stun every hit. Would max out the saw on paper, and each summon Sage clone increased the damage of each instance by 5%, so it stacked up a little bit. Now, Instead of it increasing the damage each instance, it instead does 100% damage 18 times to one enemy and inflicts stun on each hit. So it still maxes out the saw phase. And it does more than triple the damage per hit if you don't include this bottom line. At the very least, it's more than twice as strong. And his A5 now increases, like doubles the damage, which you're going to see very soon. So instead of a vortex range on the ultimate, it is now a little bit of a shortened one by about one tile in the front. He's still going to be able to summon these clones very easily. Okay, let's move on forward. Now, one of his passives used to be every basic attack has a 25% chance of stunning. If the effect is triggered while the enemy is immune to stun, deals an extra 125% damage one time instead. Damage dealt by the hero and the Sage clones to target inflicted with CC increased by 60%. It is still pretty unlikely to get stun, freeze, immobilized state on some enemies, but it was a nice final line. Now, what it does is basic attack has a 25% chance to deal 200% damage and inflict stun. And if the enemy is immune to stun, it deals an additional 200% damage one time. Which is weird. That's quite a bit stronger, actually. So, if you were to have the 60% and 125%, it still wouldn't be as strong as it is now. They just rebuffed it because they could, I guess. So, that's incredibly, incredibly strong for Wukong. Like, the fact that he either stuns you to death or he damages you to death is a really cool thing. Because if he just stunned with this ability, if you're against like a boss content, it's not going to matter as much. If you're against Ma and Guild, it's not going to matter that much. Turns out it doesn't, because he does extra damage, which is really sick. Now the other passive, before we get to the Awakenings, is Golden Glare passive. The old one, when the hero or Sage's clone triggers the Golden Cudgel Strike, which is the passive that I just showed you guys, every 25, basically 25% chance, 1 in every 4 hits. The hero would gain 1 stack of Sunder. Ultimate consumes full stacks of Sunder, enabling the hero to ignore 40% of the target's defense for 20 seconds. And it can stack up to 5 times. When the ultimate is at full stacks, when using the ultimate full stack story, all stacks of Sunder are consumed. Now instead they actually buffed it again. Or at least they buffed it a certain way while nerfing it in a different. The main changes here are now the Sage's clone cannot gain the stacks of Sunder. So he will gain them a little bit slower. But they did make it stronger. So instead of 40% of the target's defense for 20 seconds, it's 60% of the target's defense. But it is 5 seconds left. I consider this a buff personally because I don't think it'll be that hard for him to just do, on average, 4 basic attacks 5 times. It's about 20 it's about 20 hits, right, on average to get this. He's going to be getting that pretty fast. And while the Sage's clone are not triggering it, he's not going to be lacking the stacks of Sunder. While going through the recording process, I realized that R-Type forgot to put in the A1 and the A2. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. We're just going to go into it in this way. It's going to be a little bit less clean, but bear with me here. The A1 used to go from 40% to 60% of the defense penetration when full stacks of Sunder are consumed, and the A2 was 300 additional attack. I don't think that one was changed. As you guys could have seen before, the 60% was just built into the new normal kit, right? While it was nerfed in the other ways, does that mean that the new A1 is that much stronger? And the answer is yes, the A1 is one of the strongest A1s in the game and will literally break the meta in Guild, and I don't think it's funny. It's like genuinely the most broken thing they could have done, and I don't know why they did it. He just has unyielding on everyone. That's what he gives. So, the A1, let me break it down for you guys because it's insane. The first time splitting hairs is triggered, which I'm pretty sure is the ultimate. Allies within 2 tiles gain monkey business. This makes me think it's everyone around him. 2 tiles every direction is what I am assuming by reading this. I could be wrong, but it says within 2 tiles, not within the range. So I assume it is pretty much everyone around him. They gain a buff called Monkey Business. It is crazy this is what it's called because it is hilarious. Monkey Business, what it does is it prevents death 1 time when the carrier takes fatal damage. Dispels all debuffs on them and restores 50% of their max HP. For context, guys, this is literally a Toreador passive for everyone around him. Just cuz. It's just a Toreador passive. Toreador, when he dies, he restores 50% HP, and it can happen once. Wukong on his A1 does it to everyone around him. This is good for 2 endgame pieces of content. Number 1, for Guild Boss 2, this is insane. Imagine you're going through your normal Guild Boss 2 run. You know, you have everyone here, but you have Wukong there. He puts out the buff. He can do it once per game, I'm pretty sure, is how I read that. You're going to lose last second because you mistimed an ult, or your auto stopped working, and you're about to be really pissed because it's really, really infuriating, right? Instead, when people die to like the Saw or something, he's just going to keep them alive, cleanse all debuffs, and keep it going. He's going to be so key in making sure these autos are easy to get to work, which is insane. He stuns really well. Like, he's going to be a menace for Samurai, specifically. And then Guild v Guild is where it gets kind of stupid. Toreador teams are ridiculous in Guild v Guild. Everyone knows that. At the high level, this is kind of a scuffed Nightmare team. Don't copy it. It's not the best. I need to fix it. But Toreador A5 is one of the best awakenings for Guild v Guild because it gives him 1 extra life. He gets 3 lives. Carnelian is one of the best Guild v Guild healers because she keeps people alive longer, giving them extra lives. Lily is one of the best healers in Guild v Guild because she keeps them alive 1 time. You want to know what Wukong does? He does it to everyone. Just cause fuck you, that's why. So, imagine you're hitting a high level defense, but they have Wukong. Functionally, you have an A5 Toreador now, even if it's an A0. Just because Wukong's there, if someone flies a really good defense, and flying is the only way to beat it, because you have to send your flyers here, fly them through, kill one of your backline units. You want to know what happens when Wukong's there? He says no, and you might actually live. And then it makes it an unbeatable defense, or it makes it really strong. And this is considering that I don't think Wukong hits air. He might hit air, because he has a Nimbus Cloud. For game balance purposes, I sincerely hope he does not hit air, because then even an A1 Wukong will kind of dominate the game and ruin your life for attacking. But you know, if he does hit air, he's a whole nother beast. Anyways, that's his A1 now. By the way, that's 1 small part of his kit. Let's go to the A3 and the A5. Now, the A3, you're going to read it, and you might not think it's that good of a change, but trust me, it is. The old thing is now in his normal talent, which we went over earlier. The old one was when there's 3 stages on the field, triggering it again will instead increase the attack by 25% for 15 seconds. This is what I was telling everyone you have to go for. Now it's 20% for 20 seconds, and he has it at A0. But the new A3, you know how earlier one of the passives was if you trigger a 25% chance on the basic attack to trigger a stun, and if they're immune to stun, they get hit with extra damage, right? Turns out the A3 now makes so that also happens on the clone. Because why not? So the Sage clone also has a 20% chance to inflict stun when dealing damage to enemies. If the enemy is immune to stun when triggered, it instead deals an extra 100% damage 1 time. If the hero has Golden Glare, he will also gain 1 stack of Sunder. That's pretty hype. Now the A4 is 8% penetration, one of the best A4s you can have. No change there. And then the A5 is astronomically better. Like, I'm not even overhyping that. That's just a fact. The old A5 was probably the worst awakening. The hero became invincible for 5 seconds when full stacks of Sunder were consumed. Realistically, he's so tanky that won't really matter that much. You really want an offensive awakening for him. And that's what he has now. So remember how on his ultimate, where it did half the hits, so that means 18 less stuns. 18 stuns is still a ton. And instead he got like a little over 2 times stronger attack on that. So already the ultimate was stronger. Now on his A5, it increases the damage instances of splitting hairs by 18, going back to the old 36 instances of damage on the ultimate. But this time, he also, after using splitting hairs, Golden Cudgel Strike's trigger chance increases by 35% for 12 seconds. So every approximately 2 hits for 12 seconds after the ultimate, he's triggering those stuns or those extra instances of damage so much more likely. That's so much better. And remember how I said his ultimate is better because it does so much more damage? This is just double the ult damage and then some, which is so stupid. I don't know why they buffed him. Like, I know there are certain things that were a little nerfed, like the usage of that Sunder, where it's like a little less duration. You don't need the awakenings to make it stronger anymore, but like, you know, it was a little worse. Sage clones can't really trigger it or anything. And then there was like another thing where it was slightly nerfed. Like the Sage clones are going to be very slightly weaker, excluding the A3, which makes them now even stronger. But getting the awakenings out of this aside, he's just getting so much more. His awakenings are 10 times better. A lot of his kit is just the old awakenings put into the new kit. Like, that's ridiculous. And then it doesn't even stop there. Here, you can pause it if you would like. Here's the event shop for the Great Sage Saga, which is his event. This really proves that he's coming this month, confirmed. We got his exclusive artifact, bunch of cosmetics. You can actually get 5. You can get a lot of ancients. I'm not going to do the math right now, which is amazing. You can get skill crystal and stuff. It's actually a good shop. And then his artifact really stamps in the fact that he is broken. His artifact increases damage by 30%. I assume that is when it is maxed. Summoning Sage's clone additionally restores 6% rage as well. I didn't really go over earlier what his rage cost was. Here, let me go here. His rage cost does not show. And that's because it was just forgotten. But what you need to know about his rage is it is like 700. He's getting 6% more rage every time he triggers a clone. And the clones can die. So he's going to be triggering them more often than not. And he's just going to get his ult back so fast. Like, I'm waiting. I'm so happy he's coming. He's my most anticipated unit. I genuinely think he's busted. I don't know why they made him stronger. Let me know if you agree that you think he's busted, because I think he's insane. He's really gonna break the game, I think. But that is still up in the air, and we will have to see. There's the kit. I tried to record it in a little bit of a new way. That's why it was a little scuffed around the edges. So if there's a way you think I can do it better, let me know if you liked this new format or anything. Let me know, of course, and I will try to adjust accordingly. Still kind of in the first try type of thing, so it will get better over time. Are you guys excited for him? Because I sure am. I will obviously be doing viewer and summons for him when he comes out, but that is still saved for when he comes. And I think he's too strong, but I'm all for it. I think I'm gonna A5 him with my unpolished soul stones when he comes out. He seems so fun. Anyways, Thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate y'all a ton. And that's all from me, Destined, signing out.